This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers Talk, News, whatever you want to call it today. As the Edmonton Oilers, as I got a sneeze, of course that would happen when I try to go to get a video done. But the Edmonton Oilers have assigned some players to the AHL, and there we go. Get that out of the way and we're good to go. I have assigned some players to the AHL this afternoon, and that means that camp gets reduced a little bit more. So let me get the numbers exactly for you here. You remember that Anton Bertasov has been added, so that gives us 47 players at Oilers training camp as of right now. 5 goalies, 14 defensemen, and 28 forwards. If you caught my Bertasov video, I was kind of talking about how it's a very uphill battle for Bertasov to make this Oilers team, given that there's 28 forwards in camp, including him, and then realistically there is only 14 spots for forwards in the NHL lineup this season, mathematically. So you got to give some credit where credit is due, and see who's already performed and how much Anton Bertasov's going to have to overperform to possibly get a spot. That said, I've already discussed that. Let's get on with who's been cut from the Oilers today. Right now, I'm going to blank the subscriber bar, which is asking for your subscription if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Edmonton Oilers news. If you do, I suggest clicking that red subscribe button right now down below the video. With that said, let's get to it. None of these 6 players played a single stitch of preseason action for the Oilers. They did play in the preseason rookie games, but they have not played a single game in the NHL preseason for the Oilers. These 6 players are Vinny Desharnais, Luke Esposito, Jake Kulevich, Ostap Safin, Bo Starrett, and Nolan Vesey. So the 2 things, Ostap Safin, I still hear both, and I like Safin a little bit better. It's easier, don't have to put some kind of weird twang on it. But Ostap Safin and Nolan Vesey are on Oilers NHL deals, so they go down to the AHL via that, whereas Desharnais, Esposito, Kulevich, and Starrett have been released from NHL camp back to their AHL owner, which would be the Bakersfield Condors, and they will then go through camp there. Same with Safin and Vesey. It's the kind of separations of powers, if you would. So right now, I'd like to say, guys, I'm hoping you're excited down there in Bakersfield to see these guys returned. Obviously, Desharnais, a new guy. Esposito, a guy who's been there a couple years. Jake Kulevich, of course, has been there a couple seasons. Ostap Safin, it's your first real look at him for a full year. Never know, he could have that Tyler Benson breakout year. Bo Starrett gets to join his brother Shane in Bakersfield to start the year at least, barring injury in the Oilers' goaltending crease. And then Nolan Vesey, who's also been a Bakersfield Condor player for a while as well. So what I'll do here is I could pull up all the stats for each of them and flash them on the screen, but there's really not much that I need to add in terms of that. That doesn't do us much good. So I'm going to get you Bo Starrett's stats very quick, very dirty, and hopefully I can get this all loaded up for you, man. Bo Starrett, those eyebrows are wicked, man. Full eyebrows. Hopefully he never loses those. Give some mean looks on the ice, and I'm not trying to make fun of them. The guys, my eyebrows are full, but they can always be fuller, especially when you brush them and 3/4 of the hair falls out some days. So Bo Starrett, the thing is, he's been at Cornell University for 4 years prior to signing with the Bakersfield Condors. He literally just came off a 15-point season in 36 games played, so it's not like he's a big-time all-around guy who's going to go out there and showcase a lot for the Bakersfield Condors offensively. The one stat you need to know is he was drafted by the by Chicago Blackhawks, pardon me. I saw a B in there somewhere. 3rd round in the 2014 NHL entry draft. So that's Bo Starrett. Now Nolan Vesey, guys, down there in Bakersfield, you don't need me to repeat these stats to you. You already probably know them offhand, but I'll give you the stats anyways. Born in North Reading, Massachusetts, USA. He's been with the Bakersfield Condors for, well, actually only 1 year. I thought he was with them for 2. Never mind, my bad. He did play a lot with the Wichita Thunder last year. 32 games, 10 points, and had 3 points in 17 games with the Bakersfield Condors this year. Now, the one everybody's kind of excited to see is VD Vincent Desharnais, who's coming out of Providence College, so good product there. He's 6'6". That's the really exciting part about him. Desharnais just a tad older than I am in 96. And the thing here is he's played 4 years at Providence College, captain of the team his final year, 13 points, 42 games played on the back end, and he signs that AHL deal with the Bakersfield Condors after being drafted in the 7th round by the Edmonton Oilers in the 2016 entry draft. Guys, out of that 2016 entry draft, is it possible that Vinny Desharnais could be the Oilers' best player? Never know, right? NHL entry drafts are kind of weird like that. So I'm going to not minimize anything, just kind of double checking my list here. We have Ostap Safin and Jake Kulovich, as well as Luke Esposito for me to get to. So let's get to them on kind of what I'm talking about when it comes to those 3 players as well. Luke Esposito, key for him, undrafted player. He's 25 years old. Played with the Chilliwack Chiefs in the BCHL. Absolutely lit it up back in 2012-2013. Went to Harvard. Played some time with the Grand Rapids Griffins back in 17-18. Had 8 points in 31 games. Then went to Toledo that year as well. 5 points in 14 games. And 24 points in 63 games for Luke Esposito as a Bakersfield Condors player this past season. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, guys, again, the Bakersfield Condors fans on Dolynny TV would absolutely love to give you their opinion on Luke Esposito. The next guy is Jake Kulovich, who was a defender at the AHL level for the Bakersfield Condors last year, who came over from the Manitoba Moose. The thing is, Kulovich is kind of a journeyman. He's been with the Manitoba Moose for a couple of seasons, right? 16-17. He was Colgate University captain for a year, and he played in the ECHL in 17-18 for 8 games. Played with Manitoba for 3 games or 33 games. Really, no point production is the strategy. Yeah, I gotta emphasize to you, until all of a sudden the 8 points in 29 games with the Bakersfield Condors last season. Problem is, I really don't know where he suits in on the defense due to how much defensive depth we have on our blue lines this year. Mind you, he still might find himself a spot, right? Depending on how the Oilers approach things after camp ends. And of course, we got to figure out what's going on with Chris Russell, which could very much so be the intriguing factor there. Now, the other name next to Vinny Desharnais, everyone's very excited to see come to Bakersfield Condors camp, I can imagine, is 20-year-old Ostap Safin, who just turned 20 back in February from the Czech Republic. Yeah, he's played a lot of hockey over his young career. It's not surprising that he ended up banged up with injury this past year. 15 games played, 11 points this year. So not a bad going Halifax in the time that he did play 23 games in the playoffs, but the injury was still hampering him. So now, as a 20-year-old, he gets his first full crack with the Bakersfield Condors, and it's going to be exciting to see what Ostap Safin brings. Safin, Jesus, come on, Tyson, because we have kind of talked about this guy for a lot of years, right? Safin was drafted in the 2017 NHL entry draft, round 4, 115th overall. So when we drafted him, just to give you an idea, the year he had then was back in, what would that be, 16-17, where he played with HC Sparta Praha, or Prague, or Praha, however you pronounce that. Pardon me if I'm getting that wrong to my Czech supporters. Is the simple fact he had 18 points in 24 games played, comes over, plays in the QMJHL, lights it up, has 58 points in 61 games played for the St. John's Sea Dogs. So Ostap Safin in 17-18, guys, we were looking mint. We thought we had ourselves a very good prospect. Now, unfortunately, with the injuries, he has to get back on target, has to get going, and has to get back to that status within the Oilers organization before things pass him by. But I don't think that's exactly going to be the case too quickly when you're just entering your first full Bakersfield Condors season, especially given that we have such a good development coach who absolutely lit it up with Bakersfield last year in Jay Woodcroft. So guys, what I want to hear is your thoughts on these 6 guys going down to the minors tonight, and hopefully hitting the ice in Bakersfield a little later on tomorrow. and getting training camp underway there. They're getting the ice ready, and they're definitely getting things looking good. So Olivier Rodriguez thanked the Oilers for a good camp, and that is that. As we also have a little bit of Koskinen and Chili Dog love. Love that, eh? His dog Chili. How fantastic. Guys, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. That's where I'll leave you. I am up on out of here.